All right. Hello, everyone. How's it going? This is Immigration Attorney Moumita. Thank you so much for joining me live. I'm back to talk some more immigration and get back to some of those questions that I could not get to earlier. But before I go any further, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Moumita Rahman, and I am an immigration lawyer. I'm based in New York, but I serve immigration clients all over the U.S. And it is my pleasure to do the work that I do because I so strongly believe that immigrants make America great already, and we would not exist without immigration. And honestly, do borders need to exist? Anyway, that's a different question for a different day. So thank you so much for watching. And I wanted to remind everyone that today the American Promises and Dream Act is up for a vote in front of the House, as well as the Farm Workers Modernization Act of 2021. Together, these two acts are expected to give, if they pass, and get signed into law, they are expected to give about 4.4 million people status and a pathway to citizenship in the US, which is no small deal. It is really amazing. I know it's not the big, wider amnesty bill of the US Citizenship Act of 2021 that is going to give 11 million people status in the US, but it's still something. And you'll see my video that comes out tomorrow on YouTube that talks a little bit more about it. Today, right now, I want to answer questions because I had a lot of questions when I came on live earlier and I couldn't get to everyone. So I'm here today. So one question that I had earlier today was, I came here on a C1 visa right now in asylum status, and I'm planning on getting married to a US citizen. Do I have to go back to my home country, or can I get the green card here in the US only? So thank you for whoever asked me that question earlier. So here's the thing. If you enter the US on a C1 visa, which is a crewman's visa, it is actually not going to be easy. It may not be possible for you to do a green card process here because you came in on a C1 visa, and for this, adjustment of status is not allowed unless you do a self-petition, or you may have to go outside and you may need a waiver. So definitely give us a call if you need help with your case, 212-248-7907. I had another question earlier today where somebody asked, can deportations be waived or disappear after 12 years? Really good question, because I know that a lot of you have family members who have been deported and you're looking for a way to bring them back, and you want to know, is it even possible at all? Now, here's the thing. There are certain deportations, if you have certain criminal history, that will almost always disqualify you almost forever from coming back to the US. However, the majority of deportations do not have this sort of limitation. So including, there are certain time lengths that are set for different types of orders. So for example, if you are deported, you might be barred from coming back to the US for 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. And if this is the case, can you actually come back sooner, or does this bar drop after the passage of time? Now, if the timeline that you were not allowed to come back has already finished, then you may be able to come back. You do need to apply for a special permission and consent to re-enter. It's not really a waiver, but you do need to get permission to come back, especially if you have been deported before. If you find yourself in the situation, give me a call. I know that there are many family members out there who are waiting to come back in to be with their wives and children and husbands as well. All right. I had another question earlier where somebody asked, I've been in the US since I was 5. I'm 32 now, and I'm married to a US citizen. I have 3 kids with her. How do I move forward? So in order for you to move forward, the first thing to do is always to call to find out what you're eligible for, because the way that you can move forward will mostly depend on how you enter the US. So if you enter the US illegally, then you will have to look at different ways to fix your status. And believe it or not, there are actually multiple different case types that allow you to fix your status in the US without leaving. If none of those qualify for you, then you may be able to go back home to get before you go back home, you would do a waiver or a perdón, and then you would come back into the US after an interview in the consulate in your home country, okay? So for you to move forward, if you're in the situation, give us a call, 212-248-7907. Okay, and hi everyone who's watching. Hello to Luis from Minnesota. Hello to the Improvist. Hello to all these people who are watching. Thank you again to all of my followers. All right, so let's see some questions that I have on YouTube. And those of you who don't know, I am live streaming on 4 different platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you don't follow me in one of these, go ahead and give me a follow because I'm everywhere. All right. So Saik Amadou Diallo is asking, is a worker in a meat factory eligible for the Farm Workers Act? Thank you for your question, Saik. So that's a very interesting question. So this act actually would make eligible, we're talking about 2 different things, I think. So in the bigger US Citizenship Act of 2021, there is a section on agricultural workers, and anyone who provides services or labor in an agricultural field will become eligible. This act that is up for a vote in front of the Senate today is a little bit different. It's more different because it expands the H-2A seasonal workers program, and it also gives the optional ability to apply for a green card after 8 years if the farm worker pays a penalty. Now, a meat worker or somebody working on an animal farm like that may possibly qualify. I don't have enough information for that, but I'll look into it for you, Psych. All right. All right, let's see what other questions I have. So I have a question from Bravo, who's asking, once someone has the perdón in Mexico, what could they do to be more secure to get the work visa from a consulate from Mexico? Thank you, Bravo, for your question. So if you have a perdón for an I-601 or an I-601A, does that make it easier for you to get any other sort of visa from your consulate? And that's really going to depend because, when you apply for a waiver, number one, most waivers need to disclose the things that you're trying to waive. And waivers are not always available for every single type of visa. Normally, waivers are done for immigrant visas and sometimes, in limited cases, a non-immigrant visa. So give us a call, Bravo, if you want me to take a look at your case, 212-248-7907. All right. Let's see what other questions I have. I have a question from Naveen, who's asking, please explain about the Citizenship Bill. And I'm not going to go ahead and explain the whole Citizenship Bill right now, but what I would encourage you to do is to go check out my YouTube page, because I have done a couple of longer videos explaining what the Citizenship Bill or the Citizenship Act of 2021 includes. Give me a follow. I have almost 9,000 followers on YouTube, which I'm really proud about. Maybe you guys can help push me up to 10,000. That would be really amazing. Okay, so another question I have is, my parents, how can I help my disabled mother get a green card? Okay, so here's the thing. If you are looking to help your mother or your father get a green card, you need to be at the bare minimum the age of 21 years old. If you are not yet 21, then it will not be possible for you to be able to submit an application for your parent. However, once you turn 21, you may be eligible to help them apply. But one more thing is that your parents need to have their own consultation to find out and to make sure that they're eligible for the green card process. Sometimes if a parent does not have certain entry requirements met, or they have other immigration issues, then different applications may need to be submitted instead. All right. So if you have any questions about your parents, 212-248-7907. All right. So I have a comment here from Chicken Nugget who's saying, I'm 19. It's so wild to see people talking about getting married at my age. It is wild, but sometimes when you're in love and you want to start your family, then that's what people do. Esme is asking, my boyfriend is a U.S. citizen. Could I get my green card if we get married? Esme, thank you for your questions. So here's the thing. If you marry a U.S. citizen, you may be eligible to get a green card, and you may have several different processes available to you. Now, if you enter the country with a visa and you have a legal inspection into the U.S., even if you did not use your own passport, let me take that back. If you use somebody else's visa to come in, you may still be eligible and you may need a waiver, but you may be able to do that here in the U.S. However, if you did not come in with an inspection and you came in illegally, then what you would need to do is you may be eligible to do something called a perdón or a waiver, or you may be eligible to do an application here in the U.S. where you would not have to leave. Best way to find out what you qualify for is to call me 212-248-7907, okay? So Muna Gapala is asking, I came in 2019 with the B2 visa. Am I eligible for this bill? So if the bigger US Citizenship Act of 2021 passes, then yes, you may be eligible to get a green card through that. All right, let's see what other questions I have. Please feel free. Mighty is asking, saying, I love your videos. Thank you so much. I put a lot of effort into some of these videos, so I really appreciate if you like them. All right, let's see what else I have. I have a question from Alex, the impaler, who's asking, hi, Moumita, can I help my parents adjust their status through me? I'm a US citizen and 26 years old. Alex, thank you so much for your question. So you may be able to help your parents, all right? The best way to find out what your parents qualify for and how you can help them is to give us a call, because there's so many things that go into an immigration application. Number one, we have to analyze, how did your mom or your dad enter the US? Did they come in with a visa, or did they come in through the border illegally, all right? If they came in illegally, then we have to look at different ways, possibly some humanitarian case types that might help them get a green card without having to leave the US. Because for the most part, parents are not really eligible for a perdón. Parents are not eligible for a perdón like you might be eligible for if you are the spouse of a US citizen. So sometimes maybe parents have heard that, oh, you can't get a green card unless you leave the US for 10 whole years. And that's a really big burden, which is why parents, there's so many parents out there who just have never been able to do anything about their status. But what I want to tell you is that, for them, when I talk to a client, I actually screen them for several different types of cases, because there are several different types of cases that allow you, if you are eligible for them, that may allow you to get a green card, even if you entered illegally. So you wouldn't have to leave for 10 years. And that's a big deal. And guess what? You know what? The unfortunate truth is that even though there are a lot of good attorneys out there, not every attorney is going to know how to do these cases or will actually ask those questions. All right. So very important, you can give me a call, 212-248-7907, if you want me to analyze and see what you or your loved one are eligible for. All right. And thank you for watching. All right, let's see what I have. Give me a second, everyone, while I scroll through these questions. Oh, Zarina, hi, thank you so much for for that. Thank you, Zarina. All right, so from Ricardo, I have, what about those who came with the B1 visa and overstayed? All right, so if you came in with the B1 visa, are you going to be eligible for anything at all in the US? Now, the way that the laws are written, there's nothing that would automatically give you any sort of status in the US. If the bigger US Citizenship Act of 2021 passes, then yes, almost anyone who's in the US who does not have a green card or who does not have citizenship would be eligible theoretically to get a green card in the future. And right now, if you're a B1 visa holder and you're looking for a way to stay here, the number one thing that you should know is that the way to get a green card or to get a work permit in the US, it depends on either your family relationship or through an employment relationship or a humanitarian category that you might fit into. So for family relationships, if you do not have any, if you have a spouse or a parent or a child possibly who's a US citizen, maybe they might be able to help you get a green card. And if you have no family members that are green card holders or citizens, then that cuts that out. So next you have to look at to see whether you have an employer that is available to sponsor you. But there are so many categories, so many considerations that go into that, such as, are you still in a legal status? Do you have any other immigration violations? So for a lot of people, if you've been here, if you overstayed by many, many years, an employer petitioning you may not be able to help. So next, we have to look at the humanitarian categories, such as T visas, U visas, and anything else that might help. All right, such as asylum. So you can give us a call, 212-248-7907. Okay, so Zarina's asking, my spouse and I have his AOS interview at the New York CIS office next week. Any tips with COVID precautions going in? Zarina, thank you so much. That is a great question. So if you are waiting for an immigration interview here in the US, especially here in New York, COVID precautions are definitely being taken into account. Number one tip is make sure you have a proper surgical mask. If your mask has a valve or if you're wearing one of those neck gaiters, that is not allowed. You need to have an actual proper face covering, either a surgical mask or a cloth mask that covers your mouth entirely. Next is, you will have to show up at the right time for your interview. So for those of you who are getting interview notices, normally on the interview notice, it's going to say, do not arrive more than 30 minutes early. And the reality is, Zarina, that if you show up more than half an hour early, then they may not actually even let you through into the building. So what I tell my clients is show up at least 45 minutes before your interview time, an hour if you're really nervous, but just keep in mind that you may be waiting outside the building until they let you through, okay? So if it's particularly cold or if it's raining, then it may be difficult. But just keep that in mind. And, only you know yourself, only you know if you're going to be nervous or not. Next, when you are inside, once you've gone through security and you're, about to wait for your interview, the officer themselves will also be wearing a mask. And when you're in the room with the officer, they will be behind plexiglass as well. And it's really still the same, Zarina. The interviews are still really going to be the same, except everyone's wearing masks. So my next tip is make sure you speak loudly and clearly, because everyone's wearing masks. It's hard enough to hear as it is. And if you have a mask over your mouth, then when you speak, the officer may not be able to hear you speak as much as they could before. So speak loudly, speak clearly. If you yourself don't understand what the officer themselves are saying, tell them that, I'm so sorry, officer, can you speak a little louder because I can't hear, all right? But good luck, Zarina. I'm really excited for you. Okay, Luis Munoz is asking, how does the T visa work? Okay, guys, I love the T visa because it is something that not a lot of attorneys will ask you about. So the T visa is a visa that helps you get the status of T visa, and also help you get a green card in the future. And it's really important because, if you have ever been subject to labor trafficking or sex trafficking, then you may be able to get a T visa. And what this really means is if you have ever been in a work situation where you were essentially forced, your employer kept you in that job position through force or fear or coercion of some sort, they didn't pay you properly, they threaten you with ICE, they threaten you, they keep you scared, they lie to you to keep you to stay in the job, perhaps by maybe saying that, if you don't work here, then you're never going to find a job anywhere, outside. I'm going to ruin your reputation, for example, if you leave me. These are certain things that if it has happened to you, you may be eligible to file for a T visa. So certain warning signs to watch out for is if your employer is not paying you, they refuse to pay you, they don't pay you above they don't pay you the minimum wage, they pay you below, they force you to work lots of hours and you don't want to, or they make you feel indebted to them, right? Maybe they say you owe them. Give me a call, 212-248-7907. This is a terrific tool to be able to get status that a lot of people do not look at. So Luis, if you are in a situation where your job is not going well, maybe your employer is not being good, you need to give me a call. All right, 212-248-7907. Guys, I need a water break. Okay, let's see what other questions I have. Thank you to everyone who's watching. Hi to all of my TikTok followers. So somebody is saying that I don't read the questions, and the point is I won't be able to answer all the questions, but definitely leave your questions and I'll answer if I can. So Ahe is asking, after submitting a green card application, do you get a work permit while waiting while it's processing? Okay, good question. So for those of you who are eligible to file a green card application, that means that you are eligible in whatever way it is. If you have a pending I-485, you are eligible to submit an I-765 for the most part, okay? And that means that you can pretty much file these two things together at the same time. Even if you file the green card application first and you forget to submit your work permit application, you can still file it as long as you have proof that you have this pending, all right? If you need help with it, give me a call, 212-248-7907. So True Pascal is asking, can we marry again after divorce the wife? So here's the thing. If you are an immigrant and you were married to a US citizen and you divorced them, are you eligible to get a green card? You know, you may be eligible to file for a self-petition if things didn't go well in your relationship, but what if you're not eligible and you want to marry somebody else? Yes, you can definitely marry somebody else. However, you need to make sure that you always keep proof of your relationship because, you know, sometimes marriages work out and sometimes they don't. However, if you're getting married one too many times, it can raise suspicions, especially if you're an immigrant. But you should not let that hold you back from living your life and having a happy relationship, okay? Just make sure you don't commit fraud. All right. Mansijas is asking, if I got a prima facie, is that a good symbol? Yes. For those of you who are filing self-petitions, if you receive a prima facie determination, it is a great thing. You should be sleeping easier at night. Okay. Mansijas, I didn't put a copy of their green card, but his birth certificate, is that fine in VAWA? It really depends. You can give us a call, Mansijas, so I can take a look at your application, 212-248-7907. Okay, so Hossein Muhammad is asking, if my mom doesn't know English, can she take citizenship test in Bangla in New Jersey? Unfortunately, there is a requirement, you know, for those of you who are filing for citizenship or who have parents that are filing for citizenship, can they get away with not being able to speak their, English or read English? And the answer is probably not. There is a very small exception for those who do not need to take that reading and writing portion, and that requires that the person have been in the US as a resident for, I think, 20 or 30 years. I don't remember exactly how long it is, but if your mom has not been a resident for that long, then she probably will need to make sure she can read and write. All right. So Royalty Gaming is asking, is the 100-day freeze on deportation in effect? It is not in effect right now because they put it through and then it got sued in court in Texas and it's been enjoined. Okay. All right, everyone, I'm just going to answer one last question. So this question is from Javon Cope, who's asking me to speak about getting a green card with an aggravated felony with a 212H waiver. All right. Very good question, because there are a lot of people out there that have criminal histories and they are in the position of needing to get a green card. And can you get a green card if you have a criminal conviction? This is really going to depend on what the conviction is. If you have certain criminal convictions, you may be able to get a green card, but everything needs to be analyzed, right? Because certain convictions will disqualify you and may even put you into deportation if you try to apply with them. Now, if you know you have an aggravated felony, you are not going to be able to be eligible for a green card. If you are in deportation already, you may be eligible for a waiver. It's going to depend on a lot of different things. You can give us a call, 212-248-7907. All right, everyone. Well, with that being said, I hope everyone takes care. Thank you for joining. Keep watching and make sure you subscribe to all my pages. Thank you for all of your support. I really appreciate it. And you really keep me going when you come here and you keep asking questions and you show me your love. All right, take care, everyone.